What's good, Coach Colin Castello here with ShotMechanics Basketball, and today I'm going to teach you how to do jelly layups if you're a beginner. All right, so the jelly layup revolution is absolutely sweeping the world. And basically it's just an idea of these kind of fancy layups where you're cocking the ball back, spreading your legs forward, and finishing with a finger roll instead of a dunk. Now, I've gotten a ton of requests to do this jelly breakdown, but the only problem is that most people aren't athletic or are too young to even attempt it. Right? We got a lot of kids trying to do jelly layups when they can't even make a normal right-handed layup. So today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how you can add some of that jelly flair, but not necessarily have the athleticism to do it. So this isn't necessarily the perfect jelly tutorial and breakdown. So in the comment section, I already know some people are gonna be like, that's not a jelly, stop! Right? We all know that's gonna happen. So before you do that, just realize this isn't the perfect jelly breakdown. This is a breakdown for people who are maybe a little bit younger, maybe can't jump as high, and so a way that they can still add that flair without having it be, exactly like the best players in the world do it. Right? So before we jump into it, don't forget you can get a free copy of my #1 scoring workout. This scoring workout is going to increase your scoring average probably the very first time you try it. That's how powerful it is. So if you want that, just click the link in the description down below and get a free copy today. Now, the very first thing we're going to talk about with the jelly layup is how you cock it back. Now, most of the time, if you see some of the best guys in the world, like Isaiah Washington and some of those dudes, when they cock it back and they're coming down the middle, they cock it back behind their head as they're in their air, and then they finger roll forward with their legs spread, right? Now, the issue is, for a lot of players, they can't jump high enough to cock it back that far. They're not athletic enough to do it, right? Myself included. I'm not a high flyer by any stretch of the imagination, so something like this is pretty hard for me, right? A lot of this goes into if you have some small hands as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on cocking it back while we're still on the ground. So instead of jumping and cocking it back at the same time, now when I'm getting ready to take off, I'm planting with one foot and I'm cocking it back over my head as I'm jumping. So the difference is I'm cocking it on the ground rather than being in the air. Now granted, it doesn't look as cool, but again, this is functionality. This is gonna work for some players that aren't athletic or aren't old enough to do it. So the whole idea is anytime you're getting towards the hoop, maybe I'm getting ready to finish, I'm gonna cock it back, and this is still gonna freeze the defender a little bit. So it's still a great move to have, but it just makes it a little bit easier. So the whole key is you wanna pretend it's just like a normal layup, that your knee and the basketball are on a string. So as my right knee's going up, I'm cocking it back with my right hand, just like that, cocking it back. So a great way to practice this is to come up next to the hoop, plant your inside foot, and then just kind of rock like this. Get used to gathering and cocking it up early behind your head. Again, once you get comfortable, you can try to cock it further back, you can try to hang it back, whatever it is. But this motion, once it gets natural, then you can just work on finishing just like that. So the first key is you don't have to cock it in the air, you can cock it on the ground, and that's gonna be one way to kind of get a hack to the jelly. All right, so the next thing that can help is if you cup the ball. Now, a lot of the guys that you see do this jelly finish on mixtapes or highlights and all that sort of stuff, a lot of them are athletic freaks that are really tall, really athletic, and a lot of times have really big hands. So when they cock it back, they can pretty much just palm it and bring it back and then spin it forward with that jelly finish, right? Now, the issue is if you're a 3rd grader, 4th grader, 5th grader, you probably can't palm a basketball, right? I'm 30 years old and I can't palm a basketball. So what you can do is you can cup it instead. So by cupping it, I mean, instead of trying to palm a basketball like this, you're gonna rotate your hand around and press it into your forearm right here. So it's almost like, like a windmill dunk or something like that. It's the same thing. So now it doesn't matter if you're smaller or whatever it is, you can control the basketball. So just like before, when you're coming in for this jelly layup, right? Instead of now trying to palm it and cock it back where you're gonna maybe lose it a little bit, if I get it right here in my forearm and I'm pressing it in, now I can still cock it. It's not gonna be as far back, right? Because I can't put it all the way behind my head. It's not gonna be as far back, but I can still get that cock. It's still gonna look cool. It's still gonna have that jelly flair, right? So that's one thing you can do. You can put it back here in your forearm, cup it, roll it out, finger roll finish. All right, so the next most important key that we want to try to get with this jelly finish is we want to think about the actual spin of the basketball, right? Now, depending on where your body's at in the air, you're going to change the type of spin that you put on it. I've got a great way to remember it, and that's the pinky versus the index finger. So the rule of thumb is if my chest is facing towards the baseline, whatever hand I'm finishing, if I'm going with my outside finish, so if I'm going outside right or outside left, I'm going to finish with my index finger rotating towards the basket, because you'll notice if my index finger is rotating towards the basket, that's going to put the correct spin on the ball to kiss off the glass. Now you got to practice it because it's not easy to get used to kind of kicking the spin up. So same thing, if I'm on the left, same thing, my index finger's rotating around. Now, the other caveat now is, so if we're facing our chest towards the baseline and we're outside, that's index. If we flip it around, so let's say we're going reverse outside hand, now it's going to be our pinky is rotating towards the basket. So if I rotate my pinky to face the basket, that's how we're gonna get the correct spin. Now, where it gets a little bit confusing is you've got to reverse it if your arm's gonna cross your body. So a lot of times you'll see the guys come in for their jelly finish, maybe it's an up and under like this, right? And they're scooping it up. Because now my arm's crossing my body, it now flips to a pinky finish. So as I come through, I'm snapping my pinky up through, and that's gonna put that spin on the ball, get it high up on the glass, right? Same thing, if I come left, pinky coming through, snapping around, that's gonna get it high up on the glass, get that correct spin, right? A lot of times you might see you put the wrong spin on it and just hits the glass and dies. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to kick it over. That way we get that sweet finish, just like the jelly. All right, if this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button, and then head to the comment section down below and let me know what sort of video you want to see next. We run pretty much everything off request, so leave it down below, and hopefully we'll get to it. And if you're new to ShotMechanics, you're gonna want to do two things. Hit that subscription button, because we put out videos every week, and they're all gonna get you better. Might as well turn on the notifications while you're at it. And the second thing you want to do is, don't forget, you want to get a free copy of my #1 scoring workout. Scoring workout is going to change the way you think about your training and probably increase your scoring average the very first time you try it. Just pop the button over there, link in the description. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castell with ShotMechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.